you know they're gonna think it anyway. I love all the bad things that we do. Shut your mouth and put your hands right on your toe. Middle finger to the sky. They don't know about you and I. We've been rolling deeper than they'll ever know. Even though I broke your heart, no, that won't keep us apart. Baby, I know, I'm not giving you up. If you want my love, then you got it. Anytime you want it, baby, bring your body back to me. They can call me foolish and stupid. Don't know why I do this, but baby, bring your body back to me. I know, I'm not giving you up, giving you up. I know, I'm not giving you up. If you want my love, then you got it. Anytime you want it, baby, bring your body back to me. I still stay 'cause you're the only thing I know. So won't you take me home, baby, bring your body back to me. Take me
Broadcasting from down on the bayou, it's the Average Marks Pro Wrestling Podcast, powered by Lake Area Media, LLC. And now your hosts, David Boston and Patrick Fry.
And welcome to the AMP Wrestling Podcast. It's DB, Patrick Fry over there. It's good to be back, bro.
Yeah, man, it's been a while since you've been with us, but it's good to have you back. I held down the fort a little bit last week, and I'm glad you're back because I mentioned it on the podcast last week. When I sit here and do it solo, and I may have done this podcast solo a time or two, but I flow much better with you in here, someone to bounce off of. Me by myself, I don't know. Sometimes I get excited, talk too much. I talk too much even with you here as it is, but glad to have you back.
Yeah, what I listened to, it sounded good, Patrick.
Well, thank you. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad you think it sounded good. I hope everyone else that listened to last week thought it sounded good as well. So I'm real excited to talk about the stuff we're going to talk about today. Obviously, a lot to talk about, but this is the Average Marks. I'm sorry, not the. Look, I did it again. I think I did the same thing last week.
Yeah.
So many episodes of being the Average Marks, but we are no longer the Average Marks. We are the AMP Wrestling Podcast. Of course, like I said, a lot to talk about here.
Yeah.
I know we got a sponsor. You want to do the sponsor first?
Yeah. But first, a special F you to all the trolls out there. You're the reason why we changed our name. We got tired of you trolling us.
What were they exactly trolling us about?
Essentially saying we were stupid. That's why we were called the Average Marks.
I mean, I'm not saying we're stupid, but we're certainly not geniuses by any means.
But yeah, the sponsor for today is Amazon, or Amazon affiliate link. Now, this is a great way to help your boys out because it is completely non-intrusive to your wallet. You don't have to go to Patreon and throw down, although we have one. You don't have to go to PayPal and throw down, although we have one.
Patreon's about to blast off, I think.
Really?
Well, with
Why you say that?
Well, with OnlyFans getting rid of all the sexually explicit content.
Can you do nudies on Patreon?
I don't know. Can you?
I don't know.
I feel like maybe you could. I don't know. But I did see a lot of folks going to this thing called Fansly, so maybe that's going to become a thing.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like the knockoff OnlyFans. But I thought Patreon, maybe you could. I don't know. maybe you can't, because I feel like maybe a lot more people would go to Patreon if you could. So maybe you can't. I thought maybe Patreon, if they do allow that sort of thing, could be one of those platforms. Obviously, we were on Patreon for a little while. I think do we still have a Patreon?
We do. It's completely non-active. There's cobwebs all over it.
It's even on the screen here. I can see it. Yeah, down there at the bottom left. Support us on Patreon. So we are on Patreon. We're not going to get naked for you, but you don't want. Trust me, you don't want that.
Or we could
if we get some women in here and we can do that. Then yeah, we'll certainly do that. But neither David nor myself. No, not going to happen.
No.
Amazon.
Yes, Amazon is completely the best way to help us out, because you shop on Amazon anyway, and you don't have to fork over any extra money to your boys. Amazon's going to do that for us. Uncle Jeff, he said, hey, boys, if you send us some traffic, we're going to throw you a few cents. Literally.
Yeah.
But every few cents, I guess, it'll eventually get to $10, and it'll be put in our bank account so we can buy something for the show. But if enough people do it, we get it going, there's a thing. So here's how you do it. tinyurl.com/Amazon AMP, A-M-P. And the reason why we use tinyurl, that's how we keep track of how many people aren't hitting the link.
Yeah. I bought something the other day and I used the link. So bought a pair of binoculars. So
what you need binoculars for, you peeping Tom?
Well, you see, so my girlfriend lives in an apartment complex.
Yes, sir.
Where she has like a little balcony, and it oversees, I guess, what you would call the courtyard area of said apartment complex.
There's a pool in there?
There is a pool.
Okay.
But it's like the way the courtyard is set up, like the pool is, we'll say it's on the west side of the courtyard, and her balcony is all the way on the east side of the courtyard. Yeah. So like it's a little ways, and there are some honeys that go out to the pool and everything, and you can tell that they're honeys, but the binoculars really give you the good look. And
wait, are you serious?
Yeah.
That's what you bought these binoculars for?
That's one of the reasons, yeah.
Does your girlfriend know?
Yeah, she knows I bought some binoculars.
But what you're going to do with the said binoculars?
Well, I'm going to use it for other things, like when I go to wrestling.
How are you going to hide that? If you're at her place, you're just going to grab your binoculars off the counter and go, hey, I'll be right back?
No, I've already done it. Like, I look out the window of the balcony, and she knows I'm looking. She might know I'm looking just at the girls, but like I look at other things too. There's other things. There's sometimes on the weekends there's a lot of activity going on. Just not just women, but like all like families are out there and stuff, and they're playing cornhole. And I just like to, I take a peek and see.
That's so creepy.
I mean, it might be a little creepy, but hey, it's what you want me to do? It's no different.
You know what that makes you, huh?
It's no different than if I were to go out on the balcony and just look in general.
You're a voyeur.
What does that mean?
You like to watch people when they don't know you're watching.
It's called people watching, yeah.
No. That's not people watching. You're not sitting on a bench in a park just watching people. You're scoping people with binoculars behind a glass.
But you also got to realize that there are numerous other balconies that are facing this courtyard, and other people are out on their balconies, obviously looking around and whatnot. So it's not like it's a private area. It's a fairly public space. It's not like I'm watching, looking through somebody's window, watching them get undressed or something like that. I'm watching people that are just hanging out at the pool, where there's usually, a good handful of people around the pool. So it's not like I'm looking at anybody that doesn't want to be looked at, I guess you can say.
So this is apartment complex, has a lot of young tenants.
Yeah, it's a good mixture.
There's a lot of fit and trim honeys out there.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some good looking women. It's
I'd say grandmas with the heavy hangers.
No, I haven't seen none of that yet. But I think there's a good handful of college kids that live at this apartment complex. And there's also families that live there too. I mean, there's kids running around all over the place all the time too. So
that makes it even more creepier then.
Well, I'm not looking at the kids. I don't care to look at the kids. If anything, I'm going to tell the kids to shut up, because my girlfriend has to sleep during the day sometimes because she works at night sometimes, and they're running around the courtyard hooping and hollering and whatnot. But nonetheless,
boy, I bet you her job is so boring at night.
I guess so. By the way, shout out Marcus. Marcus has been in the chat already a few times. Said, "Sup, fellas?" He said, "I'd rather just go to Bible study and pay my tithes." Me and Marcus have gone to Bible study together once already. And he also said he's looking at bird. David, what are you talking about? Looking at birds, I guess. I'm bird watching. Plus, like I said, I bought it because I'm going to some music festivals this fall, so I'm going to use it for that. Obviously, going to wrestling events. If I'm up in the rafters, I'm going to use it for that. Use it for sporting events. There's all sorts of... I've always wanted a pair of binoculars, even as a kid, because I thought it was just cool to be able to see further.
Well, you need to bring your DSLR so we can get some photos on our social media.
Well, here's the cool thing about these binoculars.
They can take photos?
No. Well, not the binoculars themselves, but I bought the ones that have like this adapter where you can put your phone camera up to the inside the binocular, so I can finagle it to where I can actually take pictures.
That's pretty cool.
Through the binoculars. So that is a cool thing about it too. That
get a close up one of Sasha Banks whenever she comes back.
Yeah, now I've used the DSLR at a wrestling event before.
Yeah, those were great picks.
Yeah, they were fantastic picks. I've used them at a WWE house show. I've used them for our local wrestling shows here.
Shout out
Full
FTW.
Full Throttle Wrestling here in Lake Charles. I've used it for a number of things. I mean, I've used it at college football games. I've used it just anywhere you could think it to go take pictures.
Hey, when the FTW comes back, Brink, Cruz, and Marcus is going to have to come down, catch a show, and then all you guys can go cap off the night with some Bible study over in Sulphur.
Yeah, that we may have to do that. Yeah, that does sound like a good time. So,
maybe the midget might be there.
Maybe.
Never know.
That'd be interesting. All right, let's dive into it.
Okay.
That
was interesting, though.
Yeah, it was. We got some things to talk about. Of course, Amazon, tinyurl.com/AmazonAMP. Whenever you go shop Amazon, I know most people out there, if not all, shop Amazon one time or another.
Save it on your browser.
Save it as a bookmark on your browser. Type in Amazon, tinyurl.com/AmazonAMP. Go to it. Save it as Amazon on your browser, and anytime you go to Amazon, you click your bookmark on your bookmarks bar, and then boom, just do your shopping like normal.
Yes.
And that's all you got to do. All right, so Marcus said they're building a new one in Sulphur.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a new Bible study. So.
Yeah, that one's really small.
Marcus, we'll have to talk about this after the podcast just to see what's up with that new Bible study. We have to go check that out. But anyways, so obviously the big story in profession. Well, I didn't even go with the rundown yet. Jesus Christ,
these binoculars got us sidetracked.
Talk about but anyway, this is the AMP Wrestling Podcast, episode number 110 for Tuesday, August 24th. I got some other things to do on Thursday. I'm going to watch some high school football on Thursday and Friday, so decided to move it up a little bit. Plus, hey, with the craziness that was this weekend, I think it was worth moving up a couple of days. So on today's episode, we are going to talk about, obviously, CM Punk. He's returned to professional wrestling after 7+ years. He's in All Elite Wrestling. We're going to dive into that. Also, SummerSlam was this weekend. A couple of big returns at SummerSlam. Becky's back. Brock's back. Also, some title changes happened there as well that I'm pretty happy about. Also, Bray Wyatt. There was a picture that surfaced. Most people think it's him that attended a Rampage on Friday night, and there's also now reports coming out that he is most likely heading to AEW. We'll talk about that. Also, Adam Cole Bebe is almost a free agent. I thought he was a free agent after Sunday, but apparently he's not quite a free agent yet, but he will be very, very, very soon. So what's in store for Adam Cole? And also we got some rumor mill stuff. Big concerns about the new WWE 2K game. Also WWE apparently was salty with the fans at SummerSlam. And Vince McMahon has been pushing hard for a new signee. We'll talk about all of that all coming up on the AMP Wrestling Podcast, episode number 110 for Tuesday, August 24th, 2021.
Find us on your favorite social media platform, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Just search AMP Wrestling Podcast.
All right, so obviously Friday night. Let's start from the beginning here because let's backtrack a little bit here. They announced this show, AEW did, back, I don't even remember, it was a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago. Obviously, they announced earlier this year this new show called Rampage that debuted on August 13th, and that one was in Pittsburgh. And then they announced the second episode would be at the United Center in Chicago. And immediately when they announced that on one episode of Dynamite, crowd started chanting CM Punk. I mean, I didn't even think, okay, that could be CM Punk, because obviously I knew already that All Out was in Chicago. So initially, and then of course all the reports came out that CM Punk had signed with All Elite Wrestling, and I was thinking, okay, obviously he's going to come out at All Out, and that's going to be the big moment at All Out, whatever the case may be, and then they announced this show. So then obviously the speculation started running wild. Oh, that CM Punk's coming back, this show, it's going to be this show at the United Center, which obviously it holds more people than the venue that they're going to have All Out in, which sounds crazy to me, but nonetheless, as soon as they announced that, I believe it was that same night on Dynamite, right after they announced it, they go to a promo. It was Darby Allin and Sting, and basically Darby Allin, without actually saying CM Punk's name, called him out, saying, yeah, Chicago's the perfect place to find out who really is the best in the world, which is obviously CM Punk's gimmick.
See, you did that promo way better than Darby Allin. He's such a bad promo.
Really? Well, that's the thing about Darby Allin, though. He's not known for his promo. He's just, his in-ring stuff is phenomenal,
yes,
what he can do in the ring. And I guess maybe that's why they got Sting with him. I don't know. But nonetheless, Darby Allin pretty much calls him out without directly calling him out by name. And the rumors just kept swirling more and more after that. So as we get closer to the show, more and more, it was like they kept telling us that Punk was going to be there. It was one of those things now, tell me that Punk's going to be there without telling me Punk is going to be there. I mean, it got to a point where it was almost too obvious, and I was like, they're making it too obvious that he's going to be there, which makes me think he's not going to be there. But at the same time, if he had not shown up on Friday night, them fans would have rioted. The United Center might have burned to the ground, because fast forward to last Friday, as soon as and Twitter was buzzing all day long. Wrestling Twitter was just on fire about Happy CM Punk Day, this and that, and I'm just like, man, like I really hope he shows up, like, because if he doesn't, man, that's gonna really be a bad look for AEW. And Tony Khan went on Busted Open Radio Friday morning and basically said, I think everyone knows what to expect tonight, and I'm not going to let the fans down. And boy, did he not let the fans down, because 9 o'clock Central Time, 10 Eastern, Friday night, I had it on. I watched SmackDown and then flipped it right over to TNT. And, the show came on, and right out of the gate, Cult of Personality hits. The crowd goes absolutely ballistic, and Punk comes out.
I'm getting chills just you telling it again.
Well,
that was such a moment,
well,
dude.
I just, right before we came on, AEW premiered the Road to AEW Dynamite for tomorrow night, and they gave a special look into Punk's return, and basically what it was, and I got chills because this was a completely different perspective than anyone had ever seen it yet. They basically went into the production truck, and we got to listen to every single thing they were saying in the production truck as the return was happening. To cut to camera 10, camera. I mean, there was at least 10 different cameras that would cut to go take this one. I mean, the production guy, or the guy that was giving all the orders, was out of breath the whole time because he would not stop. Go here, do this, take that, ready this. I mean, it was nonstop. You got to go. I don't think you watched it.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
But go check it out. It's really cool. It was just a different perspective of the return, and they played the entrance in its entirety, and just you can, like I said, the whole time you just hear this production guy go to this camera, take this one, back up, zoom in, get close, tighten up. I'm telling you, it sounded like it was very stressful, but at the same time, it was a really, really cool aspect. So, and there was about 12,000 people in there watching as it premiered. It premiered at 5 o'clock, so about 45 minutes ago it premiered. It's like a 12-minute video. They started off, kind of had a couple of clips of Punk like driving up to the arena, hugging a couple of people, and then heading out to the arena. And then they did a little promo they did a little package with Christian and Don Callis, and how Don Callis had, first hired Christian back in like 96 up in Canada for promotion, and they showed some footage of him wrestling Lance Storm back in 96.
Nice.
And they had Lance Storm do a little interview there, and they had a little package with Christian and whatnot. Then they basically went back, and that's when they showed Punk's return entrance in its entirety with the production audio going through and all that stuff. It was really cool, so go check it out. So you say, me telling you about it, getting you the goosebumps. Watching that, I got the goosebumps yet again. Yeah. When Cult of Personality hit, I've watched the return video. I'd say maybe a dozen times already, maybe even more. It might be closer to 20. But man, that's one of those things. You're going to go back on a very often basis and rewatch it, just because I told you this the other day. That as I was watching him come out, as soon as I seen him walk out and confirm, boom, he's here. I felt that I felt an energy watching wrestling that I have not felt since watching my all-time favorite Stone Cold Steve Austin when he was obviously in his prime back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, it was one of those things, and I had up on my iPad, I was in like a Discord chat, and I was watching Joe Cronin on YouTube because he was doing like a live reaction to it, and I was going to obviously try to follow along, but once Punk came out, eyes were glued to the television. Everything else around me, I was oblivious to until they went to commercial. Then I checked it and everything. But I was locked the fuck in on AEW Rampage. By the way, did 1.129 million views, and some of the numbers, and I retweeted them all on our Twitter page. But some of those numbers, especially in the Chicago market, they had a 1.7 demo rating. That's through the roof,
yeah. Just
in Chicago. Now, granted, they had really good demo ratings across the board, but man, and obviously he goes down to the ring. He jumps into the crowd. By the way, that's the one thing that slightly disappointed me, was that I was hoping they'd catch him and he could crowd surf, but he just sunk into the crowd, and then one of the
bunch of weaklings.
Well, one of the security guys, and that's the thing too. There was so many guys right there. I was surely, and Punk's not a small dude, by the way. Some people might think he's small. He's not a big dude. I've seen him in person. Not a small dude. He's a pretty big-sized fella for how he comes off on TV. But I was hoping they'd catch him, they'd crowd surf him, but he and the security guys...
Pretty sure he was hoping that, too.
Yeah, I think he was hoping that. Now, granted, they didn't let him fall, but, they kind of caught him to an extent, and then he got out the crowd. He hugged a few people, I'm assuming people he knew personally, and then he gets into the ring. He milked the entrance so much they ran out of Cult of Personality, which I don't think they really did, but as he was walking up the stairs to get into the ring, they basically shut the music down, and I mean the crowd just CM Punk. I mean, a deafening CM Punk chant.
Before we get too far into it,
go ahead.
Did Tommy Dreamer ever find the guy that was crying?
I think he did, yeah. I don't know if he found him, but I know he was going to reach out to him to offer him tickets to an Impact show or something like that.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that guy was a plant? Because they sure found him in the crowd.
I don't know. I mean, let's put it this way. I don't know. I wouldn't say he was a plant. I think he was just in the right place at the right time, because obviously there were a bunch of cameras, and I guarantee you he was not the only one in the crowd crying. I'm not saying everybody was crying, but there was probably a good handful of people in there.
Yeah, but he wasn't just man-misting. He was bawling.
And even me, I wasn't gonna. I don't think I was gonna get to tears, but watching that live, like I said, it gave me an energy that I had not felt watching wrestling in a very, very long time. And like I said, I wasn't emotional, but man, I'm telling you, that's the only way I can explain it. It just gave me this energy that I was like, man, I feel like I'm 8 years old again watching Monday Night Raw in 1999 again. You know,
hearing the glass
shatter. You know, that's how it was for me. Marcus said, being at the Rumble and feeling the energy when Edge came back, but watching his return was on another level. Granted, I fell asleep before he came out. Wrestling is back, baby. Now, because earlier in the night in our little group chat I was like, hey, who's watching this live? And Marcus was like, I'm watching it live. Cruz was working. I think Brink had watched it live, but Marcus fell asleep before Rampage came on live. So like he woke up, I guess, like
that sounds like me.
Halfway through.
I gotta watch it on YouTube the next day.
Yeah, I was not missing it. Like the possibility, and I wasn't doing anything Friday night anyway. I was sitting at home. Like I said, I watched SmackDown, and I was, and like I said, the buzz all day long on social media. I was like, I got to tune in. Like, I have to tune in, whether or not he's there. If he wouldn't have shown up, I would have been like, okay, he's going to show up at some point. Maybe it's not tonight, whatever. I would have went about my life. But it was amazing. Jim Cornette, who's obviously one of the biggest AEW critics, said, for quote, "It's not how I would have done it. It was better. And it was perfect." Jim Cornette said it was perfect. So say what you want about Jim Cornette, whether you love him or you hate him. The fact that he said this was perfect tells you all you need to know about how this went down. And Punk obviously got in the ring, said, well, I'm trying to just, go, not necessarily verbatim, but I want to kind of recap what he said. He came in there, and the big thing that he really said was, obviously he told the fans, if any of you have felt maybe disappointed based on my personal decisions over my journey, I hope you understand that I was never going to get better mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, staying at the same place that got me sick in the first place, obviously referring to WWE, which sort of made him fall out of love with professional wrestling. Now, professional wrestling is the term he used when he said he left Ring of Honor August 13th, 2005, which he claims he left professional wrestling. And now, August 20th, 2021, he's back. He's back at professional wrestling, which is obviously what AEW focuses on, more so professional wrestling. Obviously, WWE, they're more into sports entertainment versus professional wrestling. So Punk looked like he was happy to be back. Obviously, I watched the media scrum afterwards, and that should have been another clue right there when Tony Khan announced there was going to be a media scrum after AEW Rampage. I mean, that should have just really blatantly, at least for me personally, gave it away that Punk was going to be there. I still had my doubts, but when Cult of Personality hit, I was like, yep, he's here. Yep, there you go. And like I said, I saw him come out, and that was the end of that. And then he went on to say, he's back, because they have this locker room full of talent that he wishes he was surrounded by 10 years ago, and specifically called out, as we go back now, to Darby Allin, who him and Sting, they're up in the rafters, and which was kind of cool because I think since Sting has been in AEW, he hasn't really been up in the rafters like that. So that was kind of a little bit nostalgic for me personally to see Sting up in the rafters like that with Darby Allin. But ultimately, he said, Darby Allin, you're dangerous, you're a daredevil, but there's nothing more dangerous you can do. And this line, really fucking got me, pumped. He said, there is nothing more dangerous than you can do than wrestling CM Punk, except wrestling CM Punk in Chicago. So he said, I'll see you, I'll see Sting, I'll see all of you September 5th at All Out. So we get Punk versus Darby Allin at All Out. And then he wrapped it up by saying, oh, by the way, 7 years is a long time to wait. I appreciate you guys waiting for me. So to pay you back, on your way out of the United Center tonight, grab a free ice cream bar on me, in which it literally was on him. He paid out of his pocket for all those ice cream bars that all the folks at the United Center received on their way out. So all in all, I mean, there ain't much more I can say about it. I mean, it was I can't say anything else that no one else has probably already said about it. I mean, it was arguably the greatest moment in wrestling, I would say the last 10, 15 years, for sure. Maybe the last 20 years. It could be the biggest moment since the turn of the millennium in professional wrestling. I'm serious. It could be. Even Cornette, who's
since Bruno Sammartini.
It's possible. And it's one of the, Cornette even talked about the pop. And Cornette's been around. Cornette's been around a very long time. He knows a lot about wrestling. Like I said, whether you love him or you hate him, he's, like someone said on Twitter, he's a wrestling encyclopedia. And he's been around a lot of pops. And he wasn't even sure if he had heard a louder pop than what Punk got on Friday night. So also Marcus is lit in the chat.
That's what I'm talking about,
afternoon.
Marcus.
Trying to catch up with Marcus here. This is what he also said. I can only imagine what's next and when AEW goes, especially with the rumors of Daniel Bryan coming and Cole's last match Sunday night. In my best Vinnie Mac voice, this is good shit. And my Polly Pocket live on a Tuesday. Yes, or I guess that's how you say it, My Polly Pocket. Well, My Polly Pocket, yes, we are live today on a Tuesday. I got other things to do on Thursday, and I figured with all the big news and everything that happened this past weekend, why not do it on Tuesday? So
your boys are throwing you a swerve.
Yeah, so we appreciate you joining us here on this Tuesday afternoon as we talk about CM Punk's return. But I've sat here and I've talked enough about CM Punk. You obviously watched it. Take us through your thoughts of watching it, his return.
Well, mine's just going to be pretty short. It was fantastic. Like, I got chills. I got goosebumps. And that was at home. I can't imagine how that was inside there. And, I come from the mindset I would have made the people wait till the pay-per-view. I would have sold out every single show in Chicago. But Tony Khan was a man of his word, so you got to give him some props.
By the way, My Polly Pocket is it's Cruz. So I didn't know that was your username. Normally, I think you come on Twitch and it's like Cruz. It says Cruz Smith. So sorry, I didn't know you were My Polly Pocket.
I thought he was Jufro Assassin.
Oh yeah, Jufro Assassin or something like that. So he said it's fucking Cruz. How do you not know it's me?
You troll.
My bad. I didn't know. But yes, we are live on a Tuesday today. So I know Marcus, hey, Cruz in the chat. Now the chat's popping. That's what we like to see. So, and Cruz even, went back. He didn't catch it live, but he was saying he had chills. I mean, I think everyone had chills. And Marcus mentioned earlier, we were all at the Royal Rumble back in 2020 when Edge came back. And, I mean, the energy in that building, man, I marked out more when Edge came out than any other time I've probably ever been to a wrestling event. I've been to a good handful in my day. So I cannot imagine. I can only imagine what it was like to be in that building. It's one of those things that anybody who was there is going to remember that for the rest of their life.
Yeah, I would have tingled a little bit.
It's one of those things that I don't know. It's like I said, the whole Edge returning thing was amazing, and it's just unbelievable. It was surreal. It was a good term to use. Friday night, seeing him on a wrestling television program, it was so surreal. And I'm thrilled that he's back. I'm thrilled that he's in AEW because obviously he was never going back to the other place. He was never going back to WWE. So I'm glad he's back in AEW. And boy, what a momentum shift for that company to get CM Punk. There's more guys allegedly down the line that they're going to get that could even shift their momentum even further in their direction.
Does that mean we could also see CM Punk in New Japan? A little talent swap?
Well, I think, like I said, it was Marcus also said, okay, well, like I said, the chat tonight is popping off here, so I'm trying to catch up. Cruz said this is before the induction of Jufro Assassin, so I guess this is like an OG account for him. He also said, like I said, how the hell do they get louder mid-pop? The loudness just goes up the second he makes his way out of the tunnel. Yeah, I think that was the loudest point of the night was you see him walk out the tunnel and then boom, he's here. Because obviously there were people on Twitter talking about the possibility, and thank God they didn't do this, because or maybe you could have done this if you wanted to get some heat on a guy. Like they were talking about the possibility of Cult of Personality playing and maybe like MJF coming out. Like
that would have been golden.
You want to talk about some heat, yeah, but obviously the way they did it, you couldn't have done it any better. You couldn't have drawn it up any better. As soon as he comes out, I mean, I was at home. If I would have been, with a group of people, I would have externally lost my shit like I did when Edge came out at the Royal Rumble. And speaking of that, Marcus said Edge was the reason I lost my voice that night. So, like I said, we've been part of a big return like that, but And it's one of those things, man, you wish you could go back and feel it, just one more time, just be there. And, anybody that was there Friday night just got a special treat. And,
emotionally plastered.
Yeah. It's just, at this point, I don't even know what else to say about it because it was amazing. And I'm looking forward to seeing him tomorrow night. I hope we get to hear more about, I don't know, that's the thing. Like, he said something in the promo about, like, we got good news and bad news. The bad news is we're not going to get to everything or cover everything tonight. So maybe we'll get, some more, we'll get another promo from him tomorrow night. Maybe we'll get to hear, maybe we'll get to learn something new, something we didn't already know.
I wonder if he starts up with an angle on Colt Cabana.
Well, right now, I think it's going to be him and Darby, obviously going into All Out. And then it's going to be very interesting because there are so many. Cruz said it was Liddy Infinity Titty. But I'm curious to see, and obviously I think him and Darby are going to put on an amazing match. I think, I've heard rumors that apparently, I don't know if he stepped into a ring. He claims he hasn't or really done any training or anything, but there were rumors that some people, I guess, that trained with him said it looks like he had not lost a step. But, he didn't wrestle in 7 years. So I think I don't know if he'll have any rust. Obviously, I think he's going to get into the ring and practice a little bit, anything he might need to between now and All Out. But I expect them to put on maybe even a 5-star match come September the 5th, and I'm curious to see. And as I was about to say, there's so many dream matches that, him and Omega obviously are ones that come off the top. You mentioned Colt Cabana. I think that's one people would love to see because that story tells itself. Mm-hmm. You got him and Andrade would be one. Him and Pac, him and Malachi Black, him and Cody Rhodes, him and John Moxley. There's him and Sting even. I think Sting, he even said in the media scrum how Sting went up to him backstage and said, I'm looking forward to working with you. So and he wishes he could have worked with him back in his prime. But hell, at 62, Sting still is out there looking just
Speaking
as good.
Of marking out,
yeah,
that match that Sting had.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess it really wasn't a match. Was it a match, or was he just beating up those dudes?
No, it
2.0?
No, they had a match last week. It was in Houston.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that was amazing.
Yeah, that was a really fun match. I thoroughly enjoyed that match. From Cruz said, from what I've read and haven't seen yet, but he's on heels, so he's definitely been in a ring. And Marcus said he did step in a ring on heels. So yeah, I do remember him being a part of that show on Stars that I have not seen yet. I'll try to see if I can get access to Stars to watch it. But yeah, I don't know what else to say at this point. I said that a while ago, and yeah, we kept talking about it. But there's so many things to talk about, and one thing I'm looking forward to is to seeing how many people watch Dynamite on Wednesday, how many people buy All Out because CM Punk will have. I assume that'll be his first match. I don't think he's going to wrestle between now and then. Obviously, you want to build the anticipation for that. So it's next Sunday already. So next week's show on Thursday, we're going to be dedicating a lot of time to talking about All Out. So that'll be real fun as well. But
so since Darby is a face, you think he's turning heel at All Out?
No, this is going to be one of those Rock versus Hogan WrestleMania 18 type of things where you got probably half the crowd chanting for Darby and you got half the crowd chanting for...
In Chicago?
Okay, never mind. It's going to be... You're right. It's going to probably be about 90... Well, but
90-10, that would probably be good.
But you know what? Here's the thing. When Punk mentioned it Darby in Chicago on Friday, a big Darby chant broke out. So, like... I have a feeling the Chicago fans are going to be just. It's going to be one of those things. They're just going to cheer everything in that match. You're going to. No matter what, the crowd's going to be hot. The crowd's going to be into it. The only way the crowd boos is if Darby goes over, which I do not see that happening.
There's no way.
No way. Punk's not going over in this match. If they had odds for this match on a sports book somewhere, you better go put the house on CM Punk winning this match, because no shot he's losing his debut match in AEW in Chicago at their biggest show. No chance in hell, because CM Punk's going to be in the world title picture within a year, guaranteed. Maybe by the end of the year. I don't know, because you got other guys allegedly coming, like Daniel Bryan, who could be in the world title picture. If Bray Wyatt shows up, he could be in a title picture. If Adam Cole Bay shows up, he could be in a title picture. So I'm not going to say for sure he's going to be in a title picture by the end of this year, but I would say by All Out next year, oh yeah, he's going to be in a world title picture, no doubt about it. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's the guy that takes it off Omega, because right now CM Punk is their big. In my opinion, right now CM Punk is their biggest star. You got Jericho, who's there, obviously. I was thinking about this the other day. You got Jericho, you got Sting. I mean, as all-time greats, you got Jericho and Sting in there. And you got, those are like the legends, the icons in there, the two big names that have been around for a long time. And then you got guys like a Jon Moxley, like a Kenny Omega, who are huge right now. And I think, Punk's probably in that mix. Punk is, in my opinion, he's going to, his shirt, and once again, I said, what more can you say? His shirt done broke a record for, merch sales. It's crazy how this one guy, and obviously everyone that follows wrestling as much as we do knows the story with Punk, how he comes back, and it's going to be, this is the biggest home run that AEW. It's a grand slam. It's not even a home run. It's a grand slam, and I'm excited. I've already, even if Punk wasn't here, like I've been thoroughly enjoying AEW, but now that he's here, I'm just like I'm almost gonna just stop watching WWE, because like AEW at this point is giving me so much of that energy that I was talking about when he came out that I don't need to get it anywhere else. So
speaking of merch, boy, did Pro Wrestling Tees hitch their wagon to the right horse.
Yeah, they crashed.
Oh my God.
Crew said it crashed the site instantly. They had to move to another server. Yeah, it's like I said,
those dudes are just counting money.
Oh yeah. So it's like I said, it was a perfect storm. I heard that term used a bunch already. We've been talking 40,
about Tim Storm.
No, I'm talking about CM Punk. Just the return is just everything. It's been a perfect storm.
FTW champion Tim the Perfect Storm.
Yes, you're right.
We've
been talking about Punk now for we talked about the binoculars for 10 minutes, and we've been talking about Punk for 30 minutes now. We still got so much to talk about here.
Well, one more thing about Punk.
Okay.
The company that made his ice cream bars, they're called Pretty Cool.
Yeah.
And they had said that he had got with them about 2 years ago to make the candy bars, the ice cream bars for him.
Yeah.
But it never really worked out until, obviously, Rampage. So I would imagine all those people getting a candy bar, that was quite a ticket.
Yeah, because I saw people selling the candy bar wrappers on eBay for like $60 or something.
You got to be kidding me! People were buying that.
First of all, I wouldn't buy it, but if I was at that show, I'd keep that shit. I would have kept that fucking candy bar wrapper. I'd have cleaned it from any melted chocolate that might have been on it, and I would have fucking kept it. And I'd have bought a shirt. I'd have waited in line. Well, now this is another thing too. Like the merch lines, like were a mile long. To get the new CM Punk shirt, and I think there were shirts specific for people that were there that night. Said I was there. He wore it during the promo. So, but I heard they ran out of shirts. I was like, y'all should have known better. Y'all were gonna have X amount of people in that building. Y'all should have ordered X amount of shirts, because y'all know damn good and well, I'd say at least 90% of the people that were probably in that building would have gone and bought a shirt. And anything else you would have had left, obviously you just sell online.
I'm sure they did have some pretty good calculations on what they thought people, but I'm pretty sure people were buying 5, 6, 7, 10 shirts so that they could sell them on eBay.
Yeah, maybe. But
I don't think I think that's probably what got them.
It could be too. You're right. So, Cruz also said they've been counting money. Bullet Club put them on the map. Talking about Pro Wrestling Tees. Yeah. They really did. So, But yeah, CM Punk's return, it was a perfect storm. Best moment of wrestling in years, a very long time. So let's move on now to SummerSlam. Yeah, you know, the great moment that CM Punk had, and I think this is when Cruz exits the chat. But let's talk about SummerSlam. Obviously, that was another big event that happened over the weekend. If I can pull that up here. My girlfriend sent me a message, was asking me if I got an alert, a severe warning on my weather radio, but it's in my book sack. It's not even turned on. So
tell her we're doing the podcast, talking about binoculars and stuff.
Yeah, I'm texting her back right now that we are recording the podcast.
Tell her go use that Amazon link.
All right, so let's talk about SummerSlam. Big event. I didn't watch it live. I didn't really watch much. I saw highlights, but I was hanging out with some friends on Saturday night, and I was like, I'll watch it later. And that's
where WWE is at these days, huh?
And you know what? I was really excited about SummerSlam, and I part of me regrets not watching it live because there were some moments that I would have like marked out for, live. But going over the results here, Big E defeated Baron Corbin. Speaking of, by the way, Baron Corbin's his gimmick, how he's like poor and shit, and of course they were in Vegas, and he's been putting out some videos. Apparently, part of the gimmick, I don't know how real or fake this might be, but like he went gamble in Vegas and won some money. He like won a lot of money, and then like he got into a presidential suite and stuff. So he was like he was hitting a high. And then I saw like earlier today, like he ended up having to go stay like in a little cash only motel. So like he's already kind of lost all of it. He bought a new shirt. He don't have a stained shirt anymore. So that was kind of cool. But Big E defeated Baron Corbin, got his Money in the Bank briefcase back, which Corbin took from him. First match of the night, RK Bro defeated AJ Styles and Omos to become the new Raw Tag Team Champions. I'm excited about that because RK Bro is one of the best things going, not just on Raw, but in WWE, so really happy about that. Alexa Bliss defeated Eva Marie. Damian Priest, the new United States Champion, he defeated Sheamus, so pretty cool there. I didn't know if they'd give the title to Damian Priest yet, but really congrats to him for winning the U.S. title. Hopefully they start giving him a pretty good push.
So Alexa Bliss still rocking the creepy gimmick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately. The Usos defeated Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio to retain their SmackDown Tag Team Championships. First surprise of the night was the SmackDown Women's Championship. It was supposed to be Bianca and Sasha, but Sasha was not medically cleared. I didn't even read to see why. I don't know if she's hurt. I don't know, maybe she caught COVID or something like that. But Carmella was going to be her replacement. Well, Carmella comes out, and they're getting ready to start the match, and Becky Lynch's music hits. Crowd goes crazy. Becky Lynch comes out, hits Carmella, throws her out the ring. Now it's going to be Becky versus Bianca. And at that point, if I was watching live, I'd have been like, oh, hell yeah, let's go. Like, I'm pumped about this. Becky defeats her in, let's see, what's the time they have listed here? 26 seconds.
Wow.
So I think that kind of left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths because Bianca obviously beat Sasha at WrestleMania, got this title run, you kind of pushing her. Becky Lynch comes back and it beats her in 26 seconds. It's kind of like when Kofi won the title and then Brock came back and beat him in 4 seconds, And that left a bad taste in people's mouths. I think this left a bad taste in people's mouths. And it came out that WWE Becky Lynch is going to apparently be a heel going forward.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I understand the booking of the match to get her maybe some heel heat, but it's still a bad idea to even turn Becky Lynch heel in the first place because she is arguably your biggest woman star, possibly even altogether in the conversation as your biggest star in the entire company.
Well, the Wrestling Observer said that she requested to return as a heel.
Well, then Becky, I'm sorry, that's a terrible idea because.
But the man gimmick was kind of a tweener gimmick anyway.
Well, here's the thing too. Like, I think back at SummerSlam of 2018 when she turned on Charlotte, I think they were trying to do a heel turn there, but the crowd loved it. And, that was her... That was basically almost like the rocket being strapped to her back and, going into space. And ultimately she ended up winning the titles at WrestleMania the following year by pinning Ronda Rousey. So, and then, she had the whole year run with the belt and then she had to give it up obviously because she got pregnant, but.
Thanks a lot, Seth.
Yeah, thanks, Seth. Let's see.
John Alba said that the merchant. Oh, go ahead.
Cruz said, "All right, guys, I got to go bang my head against the wall. I just got out of the weather heading to work. It's bad. Oh, they had some weather coming in from our northeast, and then Marcus said that. And then Cruz said 26 seconds is fucking trash. Sure, put Bex over, but 26 seconds, fucking boo. I agree. Like you could have had them even wrestle for 8 or 9 minutes and have a really good match and have Becky go over." And then, like, find another way to, I don't know, maybe she, like, goes to shake Bianca's hand after the match and then, like, kicks her ass or something. I don't know. But
yeah, Bianca's too good for a squash match.
Yeah, but there will be a rematch because WWE just loves that and loves rematches. So, I don't know. It was fun to see Becky, and I don't know if the whole heel thing's even going to work. It's like remember they turned Stone Cold heel back in 2001 at WrestleMania 17. It's like the fans did not want to boo Stone Cold Steve Austin. I didn't want to boo him. I still loved him as a heel, and it was terrible. And I'm afraid that we could be in a similar situation with Becky Lynch. I don't know, but yeah. So, but Becky's the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Let's see what else we got here. So, Drew McIntyre defeated Jinder Mahal. Charlotte Flair won the Raw Women's Championship from Nikki Ash and their triple threat. She won by submission. Edge defeated Seth Rollins by submission. Edge came out with the Brood entrance. That was pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
So that was pretty cool there. Bobby Lashley defeated Goldberg, thank God, via referee stoppage. And then Roman Reigns defeated John Cena. And had Reigns lost, he would have to leave WWE. That was like a stipulation that Reigns put on himself Friday night. But then the surprise was after Roman defeated him, here comes Brock Lesnar. We hadn't seen Brock Lesnar in WWE in, 15, 16 months since WrestleMania 36 at the Performance Center. He lost to Drew McIntyre. We have not seen him since. He's back. There were obviously rumors of is he coming back to WWE? Well, he's back. He's got the beard. He's got the little ponytail. Like he looks like a fucking Viking now. And it looks like we're gonna get a Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar part 3, if you will. They fought at WrestleMania 15. Well, yeah, they fought at WrestleMania 15, then again at WrestleMania 18. Also again at SummerSlam back in 2018. So maybe this is Roman Brock 4 is what it would be. So
a lot of people speculate he's coming back as a face, but I don't get that.
Roman's obviously the big heel right now. Yeah.
But I mean, you destroyed John Cena, one of the biggest faces of all time.
Well, that was off the air. That was.
But still, that's not a face thing to do.
Well, it's not, but it's not. It's not going to be part of the on-screen story, I guess. You know, they're not going to mention that he did that. That was just, I guess, something for the fans, and because I guess they didn't want him to get his hands on Roman just yet. So they were like, just F5 Cena in the middle of the ring, because Cena's going back to Hollywood, do movies, and he might show back up later. But let's see. I knew Cruz was going to have something to say about this. Let's see. Oh, Lord. Wasn't the finish something basic like a Uranagi? Becky, yes. I like seeing her back, but this match, yes. Bad idea. Not even her disarmer. No, she hit her with the woman's right and then hit her with, like, I don't even know what that move was she hit her with.
I didn't see it.
I don't know what it was. And then beat her 1, 2, 3. That's what Marcus said. Becky, yes, I like seeing her back, but this match, yes, bad idea. Cruz said not even her disarmer. No, it wasn't the disarmer. Marcus, haha, Gage Goldberg taps out, and crowd went crazy. Even Twitter went crazy. Yeah, after the match, Bobby Lashley put Gage, Goldberg's son, in the Hurt Lock. So that was, and I think the crowd loved it. So Crew said, thank God, Reigns versus Lesnar for the 46th time. Can't wait. Fucking boo again. Marcus said Roman versus Brock. Winner gets the belt in custody of Paul Heyman. Yeah, that's that is going to be an interesting little twist to this feud, I think, because obviously Paul ran with Brock for so many years, and now he's with Roman. So that'll be an interesting twist to that feud. But overall, SummerSlam, good moments. There were some bad moments. It seemed like the energy in Allegiant Stadium was pretty high. Colin Cowherd was at SummerSlam because I was listening to his radio show yesterday, and he's never been a real big wrestling guy. He's a big wrestling guy now because he said that he had a blast at SummerSlam and that the energy in that arena was amazing. So shout out to Colin Cowherd for now being Colin, you should have been at the United Center on Friday night in Chicago. That's where the energy was. Marcus said other podcast was saying it was a version of the Rock Bottom, which the Rock Bottom is a Uranagi. So yeah, it did look like a Rock Bottom sort of move. So yeah, that's how Becky won against Bianca. But yeah, it was like I said, I watched highlights of it, but that's it was a couple surprises. I was happy about the surprises. Obviously, one of them didn't turn out the way most people thought it or hoped it turned out, as far as Bianca. But whatever, it was. Crew said, "How dare you listen to other podcasts, you traitor?" Hey, that's okay. Hey, there's a saturated market of podcasts. We're not the only ones out there. The fact that you guys are here now, it's all that matters to us. So.
Yeah. Now, John Alba was saying that, it was so quick, the sub with Becky, that the merchandise team didn't even know until 48 hours in advance that Becky was going to show up.
Yeah, I think that was a last minute thing to have Becky.
So she might have been sitting at home and had to take a red eye.
No, I'm sure she was there because she was in town for Money in the Bank. So I think she's been traveling with WWE and training, obviously getting ready to get back in the ring. So I'm sure she was in Las Vegas for the whole weekend.
Damn right.
I had to guess. So yeah, that was SummerSlam.
Doing some blackjack.
Yeah. A little Russian roulette with Seth, whether he's going to pull out or not, and get her pregnant again.
Wrap that up, boy.
All right. So let's see. We still got a lot to talk about. So back to Rampage Friday night.
Yes.
There was a photograph that surfaced on social media that looked like a gentleman that looked like Bray Wyatt that was sitting in the crowd. Mm-hmm. I don't know if anyone's confirmed if it's been Bray Wyatt or not.
Oh, that's him.
It looks like him. Let's see. Marcus said, I am married to the AMP podcast. I was just window shopping, LMAO.
Hey, go buy you some binoculars on Amazon, Marcus.
Yeah, use the tinyurl.com/Amazon AMP. But, yeah, so there was this photo, obviously, that looked like Bray Wyatt, him at Rampage, which, he's a free agent now. So, well, not necessarily a free agent, but he's no longer under contract with WWE, although he is still has his no-compete clause in effect until, I'm not even sure when, but so yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he was there to check it out, and maybe he knew something we didn't before, so he's like, I'm gonna show up and go check this out. And then I think Saturday, the rumor started running rampant that he was heading to AEW, or most likely heading to AEW. I think I saw Meltzer said that he was most likely heading to AEW, although there has been no ink to paper by any means at this point.
Well, they can't until he's out of his contract, right? Or his no compete.
Marcus said, "I thought we were going back to the Ric Flair photo." No, I talked about that last week. I don't think that was Ric Flair giving fellatio to that woman on an airplane or a bus or public transit or whatever. But we're talking about the Bray Wyatt photo of the gentleman that looked like Bray Wyatt at AEW Rampage. I don't know if it was him or not. Why do you
keep calling him the gentleman that looked like Bray Wyatt? That was Bray Wyatt.
Because I have no confirmation that it was Bray Wyatt.
So the new photos of Bray Wyatt, he's completely shaven.
Yeah, that's, by the way.
He's got the top dread only.
He I don't know why. Like, I don't know why he shaved his beard. That's a wild look for Bray Wyatt, but whatever. Hey,
he's got the baby face, the plumpy baby face.
Yeah, that's probably how I'd look if I shaved my beard. Like, I'd look that weird, I guess. My girlfriend would disown me if I did that, but...
He's got the dreads on the top of his head. That was him, dude.
Crew said, cunnilingus. Fellatio is a BJ. Well, you see, that's the thing. If it really was Ric Flair, then fellatio would have been happening, not necessarily cunnilingus. Right. But like you had said that, you're like, well, if it was Rick, he would have been receiving, not giving. Yeah. I was like, well, hey, I'm sure Rick likes to give.
Or she would have been riding on Space Mountain.
You're right, but yeah, obviously,
there it is.
Bray Wyatt is expected to head to AEW. When? I don't know, but at this point, it seems like it could be. You know. Marcus said, yes, it LOL, like it looked like Bray. I agree. The tattoos was missing though. I couldn't tell if they had to hit the tattoos or not because he didn't have long sleeves on, but like he obviously had a t-shirt on. You couldn't really see his arm that well in the photo. Moral of the story, I like this about Cruz. Moral of the story is Mella was the best thing about SummerSlam. And how did you see the outfit she was wearing?
No,
she's looking very stacked. Let's just say
God
that.
Bless her.
Showing off a lot of boobage.
Yeah.
At SummerSlam, but
so we got to interview her one time. She seems like a really cool chick.
Yeah, I kind of talked to her a little bit whenever they came to Lake Charles. I didn't necessarily talk to her, but like she came, talked to some of the fans, and I might have said something about Big Cass or something.
Yeah.
Who she used to date a long time ago.
You're keeping a kayfabe.
What?
You were talking about storyline?
No, she was dating Big Cass in real life. No, not like shoot dating.
Oh, okay.
And I think I said something about, Big Cass or something. And I was like, yeah, Big Cass doesn't deserve you or something. I don't know. So I said some bullshit like that.
Dang.
But
and Big Cass and his crazy ass.
Pull up our group chat. Show the man. Mella was, but they did show off a lot of Alexis assets. I guess he means Alexa.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mella, she's definitely living up to the gimmick of most beautiful woman in WWE. That is for sure. So anyway, but Bray Wyatt expected to go to AEW. That's really all I got.
Oh yeah,
on that.
There's no way they don't sign this dude.
All right, let's move on. Speaking of another guy expected to go to AEW possibly, and that's Adam Cole Bebe, whose last match with NXT was this past Sunday at NXT TakeOver. I saw a thing that his contract apparently is not really up officially until the end of the week, this week. So he can't. But once it's up, he's free to do whatever he wants at any time. He has no compete clause. So Adam Cole Bebe in AEW.
Oh, it's happening. The Young Bucks and Kenny Omega are referencing him like crazy on social media.
Yeah, they really are. And if we learned anything from the CM Punk stuff, like if it's, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's duck.
I mean, his girlfriend's there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way he's staying in WWE. He's probably going to make more money in AEW.
Yeah, maybe so. I feel like WWE would offer him a good bit of money to stay, but he hasn't re-signed yet, so...
He's such a great leader of stables. I can't wait to see what kind of stable they put in. Well, I guess he would be in the Elite, right? So I don't know if he would have his own stable. Never mind.
No, I mean, I don't know. Well, we'll see what they do with him, or we'll see where he ends up. Because if he, obviously, when his contract runs out at the end of this week, unless he resigns or whatever, but he could show up in AEW at really any time. Yeah, like I said, with no compete clause, he could show up. But his contract, I think, is up at the end of the week. I'd love to see him in AEW at this point.
Heck yeah.
Now, I would be worried that obviously all these people are going to AEW. Like, I hope they don't get like more talent than they know what to do with, because that would suck. But
well, there's a lot of fat they can trim too.
Yeah.
With their lower card wrestlers.
Well, first thing they need to do is, and no offense to like indie wrestlers or anything, but like on Dark and Dark Elevation, you got a lot of your established wrestlers wrestling like these local indie people. Cut that out. Like, start using your established stars versus your established stars on Dynamite. do more tag team stuff, more 6-man stuff, whatever the case may be. Stop doing these indie people that are going to show up, local talents or whatever the case may be, and get squashed. Like, we don't need that
start
shit.
making new talent to take over for Jericho and Moxley eventually on Elevation and Dark.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
From these indie dudes.
Yep, you're right.
Like a Fuego de Sol.
Yeah, but he's a crowd likes him, so now he's signed with the company, so they're going to try to do something with him, obviously. All right, time for Rumor Mill.
Yes.
What's the first one you got?
All right, so relations between WWE and 2K are apparently seriously strained, according to Sports Gamers Online. Issues include WWE wanting the usual pre-Survivor Series release for WWE 2K22, while the developers fought to push it back to next March. There's also concern about the game's roster being outdated due to this year's releases.
Yeah, I know there's so much changing going on, obviously, and like when the rumors of Daniel Bryan even that he signed with AEW, like they reached out to 2K and say, hey, because he was supposed to be on the game, they were like, take him off, and was it a year or two ago the WWE 2K game was like terrible, like there were so many glitches and shit wrong with it and stuff, and
WWE better watch out before AEW cinches up 2K to do their video game.
Well, AEW is supposed to have a video game coming out next year, I think, which I'm going to get it once it comes out. They got a lot of people they need to add to the roster.
You know who's making it?
I'm not sure. Let's see. I'm just reading the chat. Crew said, no, that's a huge mistake. They are paying tribute to the ghost of Adam Cole Bebe. Rest in peace, Adam Cole Bebe. Because he died on BTE, I guess, whenever he left to go to WWE. They killed him off of BTE. But continue with the rumor mill.
All right. According to Meltzer, several fans online, WWE was confiscating Bray Wyatt signs at SummerSlam. A little salty.
Yeah, I guess. I did hear that. Crew said Ukes is making it, aren't they? Yeah, I think it's Ukes. I couldn't remember.
Okay.
I couldn't remember the name. I thought it started with a Y, but I couldn't remember the name. So yeah, I think you're right, Cruz. Yeah, taking away signs. You know, it's not the first time they took away signs for something, but I guess if Bray Wyatt's no longer with the company, then they were like, you know what, we're just gonna take these out.
I think that also shows that it's a foregone conclusion he ain't coming back.
Maybe so. Yeah, you could be right.
Vince McMahon pushing hard for Gable Stevenson to sign with WWE, according to Thirsty for News. And he actually won a gold medal in freestyle wrestling at the Olympics. Yeah,
he had a little exchange with one Jake Hager on Twitter, if you didn't see it. He said something about, y'all honestly thought I was going to let a man they called Jack Swagger come in and diss me or something like that. So him and Jake Hager kind of had a little back and forth. And then he posted a picture with Vince, Gable Stevenson did, SummerSlam weekend. So he was there. And I thought they had been talking about this kid since before the Olympics, like possibly signing him. Because I think he's like a big amateur wrestler.
Yeah, wrestled in Minnesota.
Yeah, and obviously
Brock,
Shelton, just to name a couple that have come out of Minnesota for wrestling. But yeah, I don't know. I think he's gonna get signed to WWE eventually.
I also saw he might want to do some MMA.
Maybe that's why him and Hager kind of had a little back and forth, because obviously Hager has jumped into the octagon and is still undefeated as far as I know.
Yeah, because he had a tweet the other day that just said at Dana White, didn't say anything else, just at Dana White.
Yeah.
So maybe he's looking to get into that game.
Whoever's going to give him a paycheck, he's probably, he's all ears.
But being a heavyweight, he would probably rule that heavyweight division.
And he's got a gold medal, so he's kind of got some, he's got some credibility to whatever, at least wrestling. He's got some credibility to that. So
right.
But let's see, and if not mistaken, isn't Ukes/THQ? That's who made UFC Undisputed. Yeah, THQ used to make the old WWE games, I think back when it was on the Nintendo 64, I think.
Right.
THQ would make those games, and those were pretty fun. But I think that's all we got.
That's pretty much a show.
Yeah,
and that's a wrap.
Yeah, we fell behind, but we kind of caught back up. We've been going now for about an hour and 7 minutes. So
boy, Tuesday's popping, son.
Yeah, Tuesday's popping, man. And you know what? We may end up having to move at the beginning of next year, I was looking at our work schedule. We're going to have lots of basketball games on Thursday nights.
Basketball Jones.
That we'll have to run at our real job. So we may have to move this to Tuesday nights at some point going forward. And there may be other weeks because, like, this fall, like, my schedule's kind of getting full, and
well, then the Raging Cajuns have some games on Tuesday too.
They also have some games on Thursdays too as well. So we're gonna have to.
I imagine the Pokes have some games on Tuesday.
No, McNeese, all their games on Saturdays.
No, basketball.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Like I said, I looked at the schedule. I did the schedules today on the calendar.
What's about to get hairy?
Yeah, so we're gonna be flip flopping around in the next handful of months. As far as what day of the week we're going to be broadcasting. I think next week we're good for Thursday. But going forward, we may have some Tuesday shows. We may have some Wednesday shows. Heck, if we get desperate enough, we might do some on the weekend. We're trying to stay away from the weekend.
No, the weekend's going to be too busy. Sometimes we may have three basketball or 3 sports games.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. Let's see what else is going on in the chat. Like No Mercy, where they are drawing inspiration from. Yeah, I had No Mercy. Well, I'm just saying I know a certain person who's off on Tuesdays. If you ever want a guest appearance by the new guy.
Hey!
I think the new guy gimmick for Cruz, you are no longer the new guy. You've been back at wrestling now for, 3 or 4 years now? That's a little bit past the new guy. We need to find a new guy. Well, Colin Cowherd is now the new guy, I guess, since he's now a wrestling fan from attending SummerSlam.
There's no way he's coming on the podcast.
No.
So big time us.
Well, he's Colin Cowherd. I would expect him to.
Now, give a little back, Colin. Get your boy some traction.
Cruz said, I haven't come up with anything new. Well, we'll still call him the new guy then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we'll be Cruz coming up, like I said, in the next 6 months. We'll be doing probably more Tuesday shows at some point. So, yeah, we'll definitely...
we need to get Marcus on a show, too.
Yeah, we do need to get Marcus on. That's the thing. Ever since we came back, we had Bryce on that one time, but we haven't had any guests or anything. I need to kind of set it up in here to where we can get guests to call in. We do have a third mic, too, so if anybody ever wants to come in physically to the studio and want to drive over here, or we can get you on a Facebook Messenger call.
Brave all the coronavirus out there.
Well, yeah, I guess, but there ain't no corona in this room.
Screw you, Moderna. That's all I gotta say.
Hey, I got Moderna, man. I'm.
Boy, it effed me up.
It didn't F me up, but but it's different for everyone.
I thought I was gonna stroke out 4 times.
Golly, dude.
Dog, I thought I was gonna die legitly 4 times.
My goodness gracious, lightning. I think we got some. I'm looking at the radar here. I think we got some bad weather coming. We have to wrap this up. Let's
wrap
quickly.
it up like Seth Rollins. He better be wrapping it up.
About to say, you mean so we're not wrapping it up at all? Is what you're telling me here?
No, he better have learned from his ways.
Let's see, I'm looking at the radar here. Oh boy,
it's coming.
Oh yeah, it's coming. Let's wrap this up. All right, guys. It's coming. We got to go. All right, guys. The Cruz and Marcus, we appreciate you guys coming in. I see Marcus is clocking in. We'll catch y'all guys later. We're going back next Thursday.
Yeah.
Live. If we change it up, we obviously let you guys know on our social media platforms. But yeah, you got anything else?
Nah, man. Check us out on your favorite social media platform: Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Just search AMP Wrestling Podcast. Patrick, get us out of here before we die, son.
Outro.
You've been listening to the Average Marks Pro Wrestling Podcast with David Boston and Patrick Fry. All opinions discussed in the show are those of Average Marks and do not represent any wrestling company, organization, or individual. This has been a Lake Area Media, LLC production.